This particular median that I began about 6 years ago, I pretty much began that myself, and I introduced plants at that time that were left over that were going to be thrown away. I've had a lot of people donate plants to me, little bits of money here and there, but mostly plants. And if I volunteer places, you know, for sales at various schools like Merit or whatever, sometimes they give me a few extra plants. Those all go into the median. What we started with out there was basically because, okay, the medians in Oakland are sprayed 3 times a year minimum with mostly Roundup. And so what you get is like sand and gravel and, you know, it's just brown. So what I try to do is find plants that are super drought tolerant, that once established, they can handle 8 months of drought and heat. You know, I want it to look interesting out there for humans, but it's the other part of it is that I'm really much more intensely concerned with creating environment and biological or biodiversity corridors for species of insects that we're starting to lose. This is part of my philosophy with any kind of gardening effort in the public, is that it's not a once-a-year thing. Sure, it's a feel-good thing for people who, for whatever reasons, can't get out there every day to interact with the plants, but the plants need that, and we need them so much. Without plants, there are no humans. That's not an extremist statement, that is a fact. All oxygen is produced by chlorophyll. Hey you! Oh my God, she's one of my supporters and donors.
That's my favorite.
Oh, you're so wonderful. Anyways, the normal irrigation that they had out here was like 2-valve, battery operated. So what I do is I disable the batteries, I'm saying that on television, for my medians, and I use the quick coupler that goes directly into the main. I have my own quill that a city employee gave me. I will not say who because it's illegal for them to do so. And I tap into the main, and then I water by hand, which, according to EbMud, a symposia that I just went to, taught by Chris Gramp on one of his Thursday forums, is the most efficient way to water. We harvest plants from the existing medians, yes, cool, and move them over into new medians. That's right. You don't have to go out and buy. It's not. That's another. Exactly. It's not a consumerist thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy to find people who just want to give you something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so.
It's true. That's
right.
That's a gardener mentality.
It is a gardener mentality. Sharing.
You want to share. Yeah.
And what's the problem with capitalism? It's about hoarding.
Yeah. Keeping.
So
taking.
This is a revolutionary way of undermining hoarding mentality, and it's tricky and it's sneaky. The Frank Snapp definition of guerrilla gardening is this: just get out there and do it. That's it. And anything, you know, just focus on the plants, focus on making them happy, and don't give up. That's the other thing. Just do it and don't give up. There's a time of year to do different things. So if you have a new median that you're going to do and you don't know whether or not you have water access, the way I started this median was with wildflower seeds in the fall. For somebody who's just beginning and wants to do something where they can see a result and they can wait until fall, is there's a website called wildseedfarms.com. It was started by Lady Bird Johnson.
Oh, really?
It's out of Fredericksburg, Texas. Yeah. Wildseedfarms.com. The reason I keep saying that is because you get a 98 to 99% discount off the packets of seeds. For instance, one seed that's been very successful for me is scarlet flax. You can get a pound for $15. And so that pound, man, that pound of seeds can give you plants up and down, you know, maybe 2 or 3 miles of street medians. And this is the more
Tagetes lemonii.
Tagetes lemonii. It's from Mexico. I love things from Mexico. It took a couple years to establish because it's the more tropical of the 2 varieties. This one over here is the more shrubby and less tropical.
It's from Mexico also?
Yep. Mexico is an area of amazing species diversity.
This is a pride of Madera.
Yay! And you know what's great about this plant? Okay, there's reasons to plant everything, but this is in the Boraginaceae and it attracts bees like crazy.
Also, this this is very drought tolerant.
Super drought tolerant.
It doesn't take a lot of effort.
Doesn't need any extra irrigation in the summer.
Gorgeous.
They'll make seeds eventually, and I'm going to try to seed, up on the other median.
So
I like this plant.
You collect seeds from your median?
I collect seeds not only from my median, but because I don't have a car, being completely, literally impoverished, I do a lot of walking. And since I know a bit about plants, I know when things are ready to harvest, and I collect the seeds, and I distribute them up and down the median.
What plant is
This is a, I don't remember the name, but it is in the Asteraceae.
I might have to take a cutting of that one.
Yeah,
day.
please feel free. And that's the other thing, another part of my philosophy is not only do I take cuttings myself and take plants that have been nursed by other plants and move them to new median sites or give them to students or whatever, but I invite people, strangers, homeless people, I don't care, come and cut. Just don't rip. Come and cut. Take cuttings of things that you like. That's a Salvia convertiflora, and it's from Brazil. It kind of suffers out here in the median. It's a little cool, a little windy for it. It's still drought tolerant, but gets real droopy. So I do water this about once a month out here. I have a 100-foot of hose.
Only once a month?
Oh yeah.
It's like a jungle out here.
Yes, it is. and we don't see any today because it's kind of cool and it's not moist. But on an ordinary day in the winter, you'll see things covered with ladybugs.
Oh really?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
This median has achieved what I call a state of contrived ecosystem. We have tall, we have mid-height, we have ground covery things that provide a variety of habitat. Let's flip
So
out.
you've invited in bugs and stuff. What about the traffic? How does that affect? Don't they get whacked?
See, that's the don't give up part.
Don't give up.
It's do it and don't give up.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I've had things like, I've had cars roll over in my, not only drive through, drunks driving through, but just the other, down at that end of the meeting, I could show you an example of a beautiful plant that was growing up, and it was a good one for that spot where people crossed through. It was very thorny, to kind of, so it was a nurse plant for more delicate things, because humans, if they rub their leg against something thorny, if it catches on their pants, subconsciously it changes their traffic pattern.
Right.
So I've reduced the number of traffic patterns by being creative in creating certain barriers.
Right.
So.
But somebody ran over?
Their car flipped over.
Oh my goodness.
So the car flipped over. I had a beautiful agave right here that was huge. So this is where the damage is. They kill. Oh, wait a minute. Oh my God, it's recovering. Yes. I was not expecting that. I had 7 wonderful volunteers, local neighbors who live up and down the street who've seen my work in other parts, and they came out and they were like, Frank, we want to help you. And we worked for probably about 3 or 4 hours, and we had a great time. But it's still saturated with Roundup, but the plants are performing and recovering better. I added a lot of mulch here, which becomes soil. And so and as the plants grow up, they hold the new soil. And so it is beginning to heal. You asked me about vegetables earlier. The short of it is, the soil's toxic, gotta wait until the soil's clean. I even have like homeless and poor people of different ethnicities come by and ask, when are you gonna start planting food? And I give them the explanation. It's not because I don't want to plant food, but food is, on the other hand, food will not be dominant in any medians that I have any influence or any say over in any way, shape, or form. Because this is not about feeding humans. This is about creating biodiversity, sequestering carbon, cleaning the air, cooling the air, providing habitat for bugs and insects and birds. This is not about humans. We can rip up the streets if we want more goddamn farmland. Okay. We need biodiversity for animals and plants first. Thank you. I want to show that I weed. When I weed, and I do believe in weeding, sorry permaculture people, and I put those there. I believe weeds must be turned back into the dirt, but I do believe in pulling. There is no garden without a gardener. That's not my quote, but somebody said it. So time is always the thing.
You can see how much work has gone into all of it.
Oh, well, thank you for noticing. I appreciate it very much. This area is like desert Australia, as well as combined with columnar cacti, aloes, all sorts of things. So we need these plants because biodiversity is critical to holding back decomposers like viruses and other things that are going to eat us when we get below a certain level of critical mass in biodiversity. People must now stop this technology bullshit and just get out and garden, you know?